One of the most classic typographic styles in all of design is putting your text around a circle. And in Adobe Illustrator, this is very easy to do. But there are a few tips, tricks, and settings that you'll want to know in order to make it look even better, so stick around. Here we have our sample document with a circle all ready to go. To put our text around our circle, we're going to need our Type on a Path tool, which is over here in our sidebar underneath the regular type tool. With that tool selected, we can just go back over to our circle, click on it, and Illustrator automatically adds placeholder text all the way around our circle. Now at this point, we have similar controls to a normal text box. If we go over here to our Properties panel, we have our normal character and paragraph settings. So we could, for example, align our text to the center of our circle the same way that we would a normal text box. Now you may notice that right now our text is sitting right on top of the outline of our circle. But what if you want it to be in the middle of that line instead of around it? Or maybe you want it to be on the inside of the circle instead. We have options to make that happen. With our text path selected, we can just go up here to Type, Type on a Path, and then we can select Type on a Path options. This gives us a variety of different options for how we want our type to be displayed. Now the very first thing I always do is ensure that this preview box is checked. That way I can see what effect these settings have on my actual text. For some reason, this always seems to be unchecked for me by default. Now let's check out our Align to Path options. Right now, our text is set to baseline, which is why it's sitting on the outside of our circle. But if we want, we can click on that and change it to center, which more closely aligns our text to our original shape. There are also a few other options. Switching this setting to acenter, for example, aligns the tallest parts of our letters to our path, effectively putting it on the inside of our circle. And if we instead switch this to decenter, now it aligns the lowest part of our letters to the outside of our circle. But my favorite is still centered, so let's leave it there for now. We also have spacing options, which allows us to further fine-tune our text. And there are also various effect options that we can use for our text. So we can cycle through a few of these other options. Some of them are definitely more helpful than others, so usually I would say the default is the way to go. Then the final option that we have is this flip checkbox. If we check that box, you can see it flips our text. So now it's actually going in the opposite direction. Before, the text on the top part of our circle was right side up and the bottom side of the circle was upside down. Now it's flipped to the opposite so that the bottom half of our circle is right side up. But what if we want both sides to be right side up? Well, we can do that too, it just takes a little bit more setup. So let's cancel out of this for now, and we can undo all of our changes using Control-Z or Command-Z on a Mac, and let's get back to our original circle. This time, to set up our text, we're going to cut our circle in half. To do that, we're going to need our Scissors tool, which you can usually find underneath of this Eraser tool, or you can use the C shortcut to bring that up. Now with the Scissors tool active, we're going to click on the two anchor points that are to the far left and right of our circle. Doing that has split our circle into two half circles. Now, if we go back to our Type on a Path tool and click on part of our circle, we can see that it only added text to the top half of our circle. Now, like before, we can center our text over here in the Properties panel. But this time, you might notice that it doesn't quite center the way that it did before. To adjust that, we just need to bring up our Direct Selection tool, or use the A shortcut to bring that up. With our Direct Selection tool active, we can see these lines that show up on either side of our text. Those indicate where the text area starts and stops. So right now they're off to one side, but you can grab these lines and move them over to the far edges of our circle. And this one's pretty close, but you'll still want to bring it right to the edge to make sure that everything's even. This turns the entire half circle into an active text area. So now our text is perfectly centered within the top part of our circle. So now let's do the same thing to the bottom half of our circle. So we can go back to our Type on a Path tool, click on the bottom half of our circle, and then move back to our Direct Selection tool, or again use the A shortcut to bring that up. And then we just want to make sure that those lines are once again moved to the very edges of our circle. This way the text area goes all the way from edge to edge, and the centering works the way that we want. Now that things are set up the way that we want, we can go back and adjust our text settings. So first, let's go ahead and select the top half of our circle. And then we can go back up to Type, Type on a Path, Type on a Path options. So once again, clicking that preview checkbox, and then we can go back to our Line to Path options and set that to center again. to make it line up with the center of our half circle. And while you're here, you can make any other adjustments that you like. And then we can just hit OK. Then we can select the bottom half of our circle, and then once again go back up to Type, Type on a Path, Type on a Path options. Once again hitting that preview checkbox, and then we will again switch our Align to Path settings to Center. But this time we're also going to select this Flip checkbox, and that puts the bottom half of our text right side up again. So now all we have to do is hit OK. And now our text is set up just the way that we want, with both halves of our circle right side up. So now you're free to go back and type in anything that you want into these two text areas. And now our text will be correct and readable on both halves of our circle. And that's how you create professional looking text around a circle in Adobe Illustrator. And now that you've mastered typing on a path, did you know that there's an easy way to create a stylish offset stroke around your editable text in Adobe Illustrator? I have a video right here to show you this cool feature.